Okay, well, it's 6 o'clock, so we can get started tonight for our board meeting on Thursday, June 11th. If anyone has any questions or corrections for our meeting minutes from our May meeting, we can start with that.
I move that we approve the minutes as presented.
Okay, we have a motion to accept our minutes. Do we have a second?
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to accept our meeting minutes from May 14th, 2026. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay. Since Chris is running a little late, Cody, do you want to do your report, and then maybe Chris will be here by the time you're done?
Yep.
Okay, good, thank you.
All right, so the June 2026 Director's Report, Programming Collections. So the last movie that we showed was Crocodile Dundee. We had 8 attendees for that one. The next movie is The Patriot that we were showing on June 26th. As we've discussed, that movie is rated R, so younger patrons will be required to be accompanied by a parent or legal guardian. We're not just going to let a 9-year-old come in and watch The Patriot. Vegetable Plant Swap had 20 participants. We had an herbalist program that had 11 attendees. The Harp Soloist had 28 attendees. I wasn't able to make that one, but he said it was very good.
Yeah, I loved her.
Summer reading kickoff went very well. We had 133 people come to that. The block party was a big success. We had more attendees than last year, making it one of the largest children's programs we've had in recent years. Petting Zoo and the ice cream truck were greatly enjoyed by everybody, and a lot of the younger ones, especially the younger boys, really enjoyed the high striker game. First week of summer readings had really decent programming attendance. Jen has switched up how we've run that a little bit, having the various age groups on different days. That's helped a little bit. We will be having a Birds of Michiana bird watching program on June 23rd. Summer concert series will be kicking off with Bulldogs on the 25th. We're going to be hosting an American History Trivia Night on the June 30th. Parks Board is putting on the Party at the Park event on July 3rd. We are sponsoring Woolman for that. We're paying half the fee, and that is the second concert in our concert series. So those two are close together, but it's just how it worked out. Staff and Library Development, Tara Simmons and Kara Kinney have been working on the genealogical workshop that they signed up for. Because that is web-based, they've been watching the sessions over the past few weeks. They are available through mid-July. Tara said today that they've watched about 20 different sessions, which is really good. We had 2 gentlemen from the rescue mission out of Fort Wayne come and talk to the staff. At the last staff meeting, they were informing us their mission is to support those experiencing homelessness and to gather information about local services for that population. They will be reaching out to us in January about participating in a nationwide survey, which might help either us or them obtain grants if there is a need for it. We have the raised garden beds planted up on in the courtyard. The plants are actually doing very well, and we're planning on using those to make salsa for the salsa competition that we're going to have later this year. Outreach, community involvement. One probably should have done that. I reached out to John Goff, the lawyer familiar with library law. A letter was drafted and sent to Richland Township trustee. We received confirmation that it was received on June 2nd, and there has not been any response. Vicki Fleshauer has been very active with the county's America 250 committee. She's been working on planning as well as designing the float for the Turtle Days Parade in Cherubusco and the Old Settlers Parade. I met with Dove Stasko about potentially working on ways that we can educate the community about the importance of butterflies. She's expressed interest in potentially doing some stuff with kids for that. I need to meet with her again to iron that out, but I've called her a couple times and her voicemail's full. Building maintenance, we've had some issues with the air handlers. Sadly, again, on some routine inspections, he's been finding some very small leaks. It's been taking a little bit to track down where the leaks are and figure out what parts might need replaced. With the time that it's taken him to do that, that bill might be a little significant, and I'm considering paying that out of rainy day, so the rest of the building maintenance budget and the operating fund can just go to like the normal lawn mowing, those sorts of charges. I received a quote from Kingdom Roofing to redo the entire roof. It's a bit over $60,000 for like a whole new roof, both sections and the flat roof. Working on determining the best course of action and the sequence of events. So because it's over $50,000, that's something that we're going to have to put out for bids and have a meeting where we open the bids and all of that sort of thing. So I'm just trying to figure out the best sequence of when to do the additional appropriations, when to have that sort of thing.
Was that for metal?
That is just for
Shingle?
regular roof. Technology, I've started talks with Zayo for scheduling the replacement of the routers throughout the building. That was part of the project that was approved using E-rate funds from last year. Financial, so I've got the budget for next year generally figured out. I need to meet with the finance committee sometime before the July meeting. There will be some changes to that because we don't have what the growth quotient is going to be. It's been estimated to be 4.8% by a library director from the LSC group who's had it right the past 5 years. But she's also seeing other people who are estimating it at higher, whether it be 5%, 6%, somewhere in there. I've estimated it, I have down on paper, at 2.4% given what is in new legislation. But any sort of changes will primarily be affecting the rainy day fund and how much we're able to appropriate out of that. There was a webinar with the DLGF and the SBOA on financial matters. Some of the bigger items were changes to the gift funds and donations. We'll go over a little bit more of that later. It's a very interesting time. We received the first portion of the property tax disbursement. The cost for the 2025 audit was a part of that. It deducted a bit over $4,000. The figures for the 2026 circuit breaker were released. These funds that we will not receive on property tax disbursements due to the tax caps. It's normally been around 10, maybe between 10 and 12. This year, because of the changes to legislation, it was about $35,000. We did receive a supplemental local income tax disbursement, so this is a one-time thing. If they have additional monies that they're wanting to send out, it's not something that we can count on like every month, every year. But that was a little over $40,000, so it kind of evens out between the audit costs and the circuit breaker, and then what we received in supplemental lit. They're pretty similar. Whitley County is undergoing a review process involving a municipal unit strategic task force for the potential effects from changes to local income tax legislation. They've asked the various units to get together financial data for them in order to see what the impact will be. They're working with Baker Tilly, which is a large financial company that works with a lot of municipal units for these sorts of things. And I've been working on getting that information together for them. That is my report.
Chris, can you go back? Can you,
Did we have the claims?
the claims go
Oh,
around?
yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Go that over.
First page there in the green packet, financial report, start of the year, so 1/1/25, 1.8 million compared to now, 1.9 million, so just up 100,000. Wait, that's the start of this year, yeah. Gift funds are 9,500, rainy days sitting at 412,500. The other two, state tech grant fund and the grant fund, are right around where they have been. But from a grand total, sitting at 2.4, but primarily due to that spring installment tax that came in. Operating fund is the next two pages there. Want to see all of the accounts on the far right be above 58.33%. Some of them I've hit on here the past couple of months have just been slightly low, or just due to one-time events will come back around. But the unemployment just slightly below the 58.33%. But from a grand total, personnel services up 4%. Supplies is actually sitting in okay status at 20% above budget, no account being affected by anything. Other services and charges, gas, just like we've said the last couple months, but that'll normalize it to the summer months. We're on here, and if it's as hot as it has been the last few days, we shouldn't have to use much gas. So, 12% above budget there in category 3, other services and charges. And then capital outlays, periodicals and newspapers still down below where we want to see it, but it's mainly due to the one-time dues at the beginning of the year. So 12.5% above budget. From a grand total, though, of all accounts, 7.7% above the budget appropriated mark.
Any questions or comments on the report? Have a motion to accept our treasurer's report.
I'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Okay, motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to accept our treasurer's report. All in favor by saying aye. And opposed? Okay. So we're on old business.
Can I make a suggestion? Just because we have somebody who's coming to talk to us,
Sure.
can we move that to the front just to respect our time?
Sure,
Oh, well, thank you.
okay.
So this is Cynthia from Trust Indiana. She's come to talk to us about that program. I know we talked a little bit about it in the past.
Thank you. I'll have some handouts. I also have some bags and pens I will leave over on the table for you after. No worries, I am not going to cover every single page of this. I know that they can be a little monotonous, but this is for your information as well.
Thank you.
So it sounds as though you're a little bit familiar with Trust Indiana, I'm still going to go over a little bit of what it is so you have an understanding of what we do with the state treasurer's office. So I am a state employee. I've been employed by the state for 18 years. I've been with the treasurer's office for the entirety of that time. So the treasurer's office in the state, their responsibility is to invest funds, to invest tax dollars. And I know you guys are in a tumultuous time right now with, as most governmental agencies and our wonderful legislature, as they are shaking things up about how much we all get. And so we are limited on the amount that we are able to bring in. And so in order to somewhat supplement that, we are to do the best of our ability with what we have, and one of those things is investing the funds. So whether you do it at a local bank, there's a whole slew of things that you can do with it. But the state legislature back in 2007, we are the 45th state to have what this is. It's called a local government investment pool, which is a pool just for Indiana public funds. So nothing from any other state, nor from not-for-profits, nor from personal money can be put into this. And it is an easy 100% liquid investment fund. So it's a pool of money, the schools put it in, the cities and towns put it in, your county treasurer puts it in, you're able to put it in, soil and water districts. So anybody that receives public funds is able to put their money in this pool. And then we at the treasurer's office then take those chunks of money, and we have the better ability to go out and negotiate rates with this. And so many times we can actually get a greater rate than what your local bank would. We still appreciate our local banks, and we still want to support our local banks. I understand that. But this is also a good way to kind of keep them on task, to keep them at a decent rate. Right now we're at a 3.65%. You can pull your money at any time. So what happens is you fill out a form. It's a free account for you. You fill out to have an account, and when you're ready to invest your money, everything is done online. You move money over into Trust Indiana when you're ready to invest it. When you're ready to spend it, you move it back to your bank account, because we don't write checks out of this. We don't send wires or anything else to any other sort of entity, and that is a safety precaution. The safety, along with wanting to increase your money with a good interest rate, safety is very important, especially since everybody's trying to get into government within the, trying to promote fraud or to take governmental money. So Once you have your account, you move it in, you get your interest rate, it accrues on a daily basis. And so as we learned way back in grade school, right, to accrue daily versus monthly, tomorrow you're gonna get interest on today's interest. And so that helps grow it a little bit better. So great benefits to using this. I will take you to actually that page right there, sample portfolio composition. This page right here, I think it's about 5 pages in. What are you going to be invested in? We choose for you. You do not get to choose what you invest in, but of course, at the State Treasurer's Office, we are also held to the same standards of investments that you are. Very limited because we want to make sure it's safe. And so 50% of it is in Indiana banks. So 50% of that whole fund is in Indiana banks. Normally that's a little higher. And money markets, free purchase agreements, those are all included in Indiana banks. U.S. agencies, U.S. treasuries, these are two things that you can also invest in on your own. U.S. treasuries, we're all familiar with those. U.S. agencies would be like Freddie Mac, Sallie Mae, and those types of loans that you're able to invest in. The one thing that we can invest in that you are not allowed to invest in on your own is commercial paper. And that's because commercial paper can be good and it can be bad. And so therefore you want your experts on choosing what commercial paper is the safest and what commercial paper is going to be the best for putting Indiana public funds in. Right now the fund is about $4.3 billion as a whole for the state of Indiana. We are I believe we're about $55 billion for the state. So you can kind of see how much of the state's money is actually, and how many public funds are in this. The page before, I know we like to know what our neighbors are doing. And so the page right before that, I believe, it does have a pie chart. Love our pie charts. It shows how many libraries are in there. Right now, 75, I think we have more than 75 libraries in there, but may not be funded. 75 libraries have accounts, many of them are funding. And as a whole, so the whole amount of money, 3.86% of the funds belong to libraries. You know how much you get compared to counties, so it's not as much, but hey, we'll take what we can get, right? I don't want to keep going on and on about anything else. Let me see if there's anything that I can expand on. We do follow what the feds do. So right now it's staying pretty stable at a 3.65%. If the feds drop rates, just like at the banks, you're going to see this rate drop. If the feds raise rates, you're going to see this one go up. Doubt they're going to raise them. Right now it looks like they may not even drop rates this year. They may not go until next year. Just things are a little tumultuous right now in the economy. So other than that, I mean, it's a free account for you. It's easy to set up. You can have as many signers on there as you want, or you can have read-only status for those that don't need the responsibility of moving funds. But free account, 3.65% interest, and you are not limited. There's no minimum that you have to put in. You can leave it zero, and we're not going to charge you for the account. And no minimum or maximum of transfers either. So, I think I covered everything. Any questions? I know it's a lot to take. This also does not have a resolution because it is a state product and State Board of Accounts approves of this already. You don't have to have a resolution, but it's always good to have a vote and have it in your minutes that it has been accepted by the board. So, any questions?
No, I appreciate that, because those are ideas we kicked around of where to invest some of our money, and Cody, you contacted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we thank you for
You're
your time.
welcome.
Looks
Thank
good.
you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes, thank
Jennifer,
you.
did you have any questions? It's part of the reason why I asked you to come.
Could I just get your card
Oh,
or
yeah.
something so that
sure.
way?
For those of you who haven't met her, Jennifer is our board.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have to.
if I have any questions, that way I can help explain.
Yeah. You know what? I'll give you this as well.
Hey, Tom.
It should say that.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect,
If
thank
you
you.
need anything from me, then just
Well, that way I can talk to you how
Yeah,
to do
just know it.
this and then better explain.
okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you very much. if you want to talk about Richland Township first, and then we'll probably go ahead.
Yeah.
Sleep,
Okay.
we're already at work, so.
Let's try Richland here.
Okay, so, I added that on there, in case we hadn't heard anything back from Richland Township to be able to discuss it with you. We haven't really heard anything back, so what was in my director's report is really all I have to report that. I did add a copy of the letter in your packets in case you want to look at that. The basic, the one part is highlighted just because that was the part that I was talking with the lawyer about to make sure that everybody was included. And that's just the only copy of the letter that I had. But in essence, it simply says the law doesn't do what they were asking us to do, and we don't want to do that, and it involves a lot of other people. So,
Jesse, have you been contacted by anyone?
I don't, did you hear that part where we did get confirmation that Richland Township trustee, it was delivered to her
I
on June
read
2nd?
it, I read it in your minutes, but.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
that was everything for that.
Okay, yeah. Which one do you want to go on to?
Do we want to do the financial policies?
Sure.
First, because that's the old business.
Okay,
Alright, so I have two policies that are involved in that one. One would be an investment policy. This is modeled very closely off of another library who also just passed this in order to be able to open a trust Indiana account. So if you want to look at that real quick, and see if you have any.
This is in correlation to the trust Indiana thing.
Yes, but it also has information there for certificate of deposits as a general investment thing, but I think we've discussed certificate of deposit isn't necessarily what we would want to do at this time, because we want to keep the liquidity.
any questions, comments?
That's the other financial.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I just wrote that up again. The actual name, it's supposed to be something. Questions?
You would like a vote on this to put it into place?
This was just for discussion. If we wanted to have the investment policy, if we wanted to try to open up a trust Indiana account. This is just for discussion, and if we want to do it, then I figured we'd do that next month. And
Okay, I mean,
that's for all of the policies.
Seems like it reads okay. Sorry? Seems like it reads okay.
Okay. Gift and donation update?
Do you have the financial policy?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
Also, since these are financial policies, it might be prudent to send them to our local lawyer, Greg Hoffmeyer, have them get them over and just make sure they're okay.
These two, you already did?
No,
Oh, okay.
no. If we're okay with them, then make sure that he's also okay with it, since they have to do with the money.
Okay.
So the second one is the educational assistance. We talked about that a little bit with the finance committee. It would be for student loan reimbursement. And part of the idea of that is if this was in place, staff members who have student loans can have part of that reimbursed up to, I think, the IRS says like $5,250. That is tax-free. So they're able to get a little bit more of that money, but then they can put back to the student loans. And it also can save the library a little bit of money because then it doesn't apply to other things, stuff like that.
So this isn't previous education they've gotten necessarily.
Yes, this is.
It says if it betters the library, or if it's in conjunction with, if they've been to nursing school, this isn't necessarily something we would help with.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's, like, if they went to library school, and then they came in
Okay.
with a degree,
Okay.
then paying that. And it's written in such a way that it's entirely optional year to year, if you wanted to.
Was this also modeled off another one, another library, or is this?
No, I think we would be the first library that I've been able to find that would be doing this. I was not able to find any other library that does this. And I asked a couple of different groups, nobody do it. This does, from my reading, align with the IRS guidelines for the program.
And this is another one that you would have Greg look over.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind looking into it further. I think we would need to know a little bit how it works in terms of internal books, things like that.
Okay.
Like you set up a separate account, or it's how that works with payroll, things like that.
Okay. We did.
I know we talked about it in the finance committee,
Yeah.
but that was a very brief discussion. I think we didn't really hit on too much of it. But
Well,
In my mind, it would operate similarly to the bonus, but we can also talk to Greg about that and see if.
well, and that's what I remember. It would not. It's not additional funds to the employees. It's right.
Correct.
Yeah.
What do you mean by additional funds, Steve?
It was similar to, like, I think we talked about your compensation, where your that's where your bonus or whatever would come into play, your raise. You wouldn't necessarily see that necessarily, because this kind of replaces that, right?
That's kind of the idea. It can't be used as an either or, according to the IRS. So if this was in place, this would be like, well, I had student loans, that would just be my bonus. I couldn't have the choice.
Correct,
here
that's what I
to
mean.
say,
It's not additional
I
money
want
for
cash,
you.
or I want the student loan.
That's what I was trying to get at, so
Yeah.
everybody understood. It's not additional money. They're not getting paid to
Mhm.
pay their student loans. I mean, they are in a sense, but
Yeah.
it's not increase in pay.
Mhm.
If that makes sense.
It wouldn't be, the idea is not that we would be paying them additional on
More.
top of what we would already be
I
doing.
just want to make sure that was clear.
and would it just go for the cost? It doesn't include paying for books and things?
Well, it would just be whatever the student loan.
Oh,
It's all, at this point, since it would already be in the system, it's just all be
okay.
taken
Up
care
to
of.
$5,000.
Yeah.
Or
That-
whatever amount. you
Yeah,
put on
up
it.
to-
Or, yeah, whatever,
Yeah.
I mean, we can make any changes.
And that's a one-time thing.
You could just decide year to year, this is the way it's written here.
Okay.
Yeah, it wouldn't be okay, we decided to do this one year, so we have to do it the next year.
No, I didn't mean that. Assuming they stay, unless this, it probably wouldn't happen, they stay in school, they incur 10,000 this year and 10,000 next year. We only do that one time,
Unless you wanted to do
to
it.
the
again.
same person.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like I said, unless you wanted to do it again.
Okay. Which that probably wouldn't happen, but.
It'd be up to you guys.
Okay, so we can send that on to Greg to have him review?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would there be any changes to that? One thing that we were wondering is if you would want that to potentially apply for all employees or just the director, because the director is the only position that does require a college degree. Is there any discussion for that? It's written right now that it could apply for everybody.
So back to
Anybody
Alice's,
full-time.
Yeah, anybody full-time.
Mhm.
so back to Alice's point, though, they don't necessarily have to have a library degree. It could be any degree. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. A lot of librarians have like history degrees or English degrees, and it's considered relevant to the field. That's why I put down there that relevance to the position would be determined by board with my recommendation. So like for a history degree, English degree, those are the only two that I can think of at the moment. But I can say, yes, this is what a lot of librarians have, it's relevant this way, and then you guys could determine whether or not you would consider it such.
I would encourage it to be made for everybody, not just for the director.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
we just weren't sure how you wanted to.
As long as it's within that scope, kind of similar to what Alice brought up earlier.
And I kind of prefer a one-time thing, not the same person being able to get it 3 years in a row, but. Of course, is the maximum is 5,000, or is that per time, per
year.
incident?
That'd be per incident, yeah.
Per incident, yeah. I'm not sure about that, but we'll be discussing it further, so.
Yeah, we can discuss that further. All right. Good. Send that one off as well. Then gift funds and donations. So the State Board of Accounts reached out to the Office of the Attorney General because they were wanting clarification on one aspect of the law involving unrestricted gifts to the library. And based off of the recommendation from the Attorney General, the SBOA has put out guidance where any unrestricted gift or any gift to the library has to have board approval. The implications of that are even if somebody would give us 5 cents because they printed out 2 pieces of paper and it charges 25 cents and they leave us a quarter, that 5 cents would be considered a gift, and I would have to get that approved by the board. They did not answer many questions in the webinar, which all of us
That's
had.
a little tedious.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's kind of ridiculous in many of our opinions. But it was questioned, we did have the question in that webinar if we would be able to pass a policy that would be just a blanket, the board approves the director accepting these gifts. So they said that that was local policy and up to the library in consultation with their attorney. So it's a pretty non-committal answer, but that's what a lot of libraries are going with. At the LSC meeting that happened last week, that's the group of directors that meets, that was really the main and only thing that we talked about was the implications and how to handle all of this stuff. Sandy, who is the one she's on the ILF budget task force, she's the one who estimated that number. She knows a lot of her stuff on here. She writes a handbook for directors while doing the budget updates every year after reading all the new legislation involved in it all. Suggested that we do pass that policy, have a gift receipt policy that covers our bases with a fairly high number because they didn't set any limit on that, and there's no limit on that in legislation, to essentially make it so we can accept things. She said she was going to do $20,000. This has that limit there that is up for discussion here. But this policy lays out that we would be able to accept gifts of up to $20,000 without board approval in monetary value, and then the appraised value of any non-material or non-monetary gifts as well. If it was under that, I wouldn't have to bring it.
How often is that coming up? Like how often is that?
The big number or the little number?
Well, the big number.
Big number? Yeah, not often.
Not often.
Not often at all.
But could soon.
But could soon with the potential Fox money, which I looked at the public records for that case, and the last thing was that they set an indefinite date in January of when the next meeting was going to be. So I have no idea when that's going to happen. But you know, the 5 cents, 50 cents, $1, something like that, that happens semi-regularly, the 5 cents especially. But it's not, it doesn't add up to a whole lot.
Yeah.
But it's something, I mean, I don't think you want me to come and say we got 5 cents from this person, 10 cents from this person. Can I accept these gifts?
Can you imagine how long it would take you to log all that to keep track of it?
Yeah, it would be ridiculous. Because if you didn't, we would also need to have the name, phone number, and address probably of the person so we can contact them to give them their 5 cents back.
We also talked about didn't we talk about the last meeting about having a jar up there and any
Yes.
excess money would go to this Friends group?
Yes, currently that is set up to be able to go to the Friends group, because last month is when this really started to get talked about. So this was a way to potentially avoid any issues. In the meeting, they said that this was the attorney from the SWCPL stating her opinion that implementation of the policy probably wouldn't happen until June. But we have no official guidance when it's actually implemented. It could have been implemented in March when that bulletin was released. And at one point she said probably May, and then she said June again. So we really don't know if that policy would be used for audits at this moment in time, or if it would be next year, or
June of 27, I think is what they're probably
June
saying.
20, no.
No, I'm
No,
just
June
saying at this
26.
point, since they keep moving it, that we're already in June.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? We're waiting for the June bulletin to come out, because they said that they would answer our questions, and cynically, we don't really think they will, but we're hopeful. But yeah, this is a gift receipt policy that would cover us for a lot of that stuff, and hopefully the next auditor would like it. And this is another thing that is open for discussion. I figured we'd look at it and probably approve it next month. Like they fit it into the manual where it needs to be.
Yeah, it sounds all right that we can review it and then we can vote on it next month then. Anything else on it? Bob?
Yes, so to use the donated money, if it is unrestricted, we have to appropriate it. For using it for 2026, we have to go through an additional appropriation process. That only involves our board, not the county council, because it's a home rule fund, instead of a generalized tax dollar fund. So we could use that money this year if we really wanted to. Part of the budgeting process, we can appropriate it for next year, which does not apply to any of the other numbers apparently in our budget, so that doesn't mess with the percentages, with the MLGQ, any of that stuff, it doesn't affect. But then we would be able to use those gift funds next year, and we wouldn't have to go through additional process to do it. It's just putting the numbers into the budget form it should be. So my suggestion is that we put that off and we don't use any gift funds for the rest of the year, and then we just do it in 27. Okay. All right. Restricted funds.
Especially until you possibly know more.
Yeah, because we also don't have the June bulletin. Restricted funds we can use without appropriating them, but we would have paperwork about what those funds would be restricted to. That would be like if somebody donated to programs that would be set up in our system as restricted fund for programs. When we can use it for that, we don't have to appropriate that money. We'll also need to, most likely, again, we're waiting for the June bulletin, change a couple of our funds on the financial report. So gift fund, we'll probably need to have a gift fund and then a restricted gift fund to separate those dollars. That was something that they were talking about wanting. Again, we're also still waiting for the June bulletin, which is why I didn't bring it for this meeting. So that's everything I can remember from it all.
You would probably create a new gift fund in general, wouldn't you? For this specific case?
For
What we're talking about,
With
this
this?
receipt policy.
Well, this would be large, well, this covers unrestricted and then restricted gift funds as well. So that would just be, basically, I would think we would need to probably close the gift fund or discount the gift fund.
Correct.
as
That's kind of what
unrestricted
we
numbers.
Yeah, and
And then
rename
we
them.
just- Yeah, rename it and then open another line of unrestricted gift fund. And then I think we're allowed to have subcategories in there without opening up new resolutions and stuff, so we would be able to have like programming, those sorts of things, the items that we need to use that for. It made our lives a lot more complicated. Do you have any additional questions on that? It's been a few weeks of my month. So that's that's all for that. And then, do you want me to send that policy to Greg as well, since
Yep.
I've already sent the other ones?
Yes.
Okay, I can do that. That's what I got.
Okay. Miscellaneous then? Just that, August, we will have our budget, what are we gonna do?
Yes,
It'll-
so, like we had the past couple of years, we're looking at, or I'm planning on doing the public hearing for our budget in August, and then the actual vote for approval in September. So if something does happen, that gives us October to be able to fix anything without having any sort of special meetings. In July, I would talk to you all about what is in the budget. I want to get with the finance committee before then, just to get your guys' is okay, make sure everybody's okay with there. So that process hasn't changed, thankfully. But, so that's just that time frame. I don't need to move the August or the September meeting because we are not having a child this year,
Oh, okay.
as we have the past few years.
Okay. Any public comment? Friends? Okay. Anyone else? All right, we'll call the meeting to adjournment tonight.